don't understand how anyone in this weight class can say that they should get a title shot over Arman Tsarukyan.
What would you say to Tsarukyan?
Tsarukyan, you can go and weigh in as an alternate again, you know.
There we go.
Tell us more about how you see a matchup with Topuria playing out.
I'm just take him down and hold him and just maul him. And I just finish him on the ground. And he's not gonna able to escape from me.
Who is next for Ilia Topuria? Now, technically, it should be Arman Tsarukyan because he is truly the number one contender. But they basically forced this Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria engagement.
How would that fight play out?
I'd finish him.
Which round?
I don't know. I'd love to be with 30 seconds left so I can change his face for 4.5 rounds.
After UFC 317, the hype around Ilia versus Paddy has reached next level, especially after the altercation between the two fighters inside the ring after the recent fight card. However, Daniel Cormier slams everyone who believes any other fighter deserves a title fight ahead of Arman. Daniel Cormier threw his full support behind Arman Tsarukyan, making it clear he's the real top choice for the title shot. He believes no one else in the division deserves it more. DC thinks Arman has already proven he's ready and has stayed at the top for a reason. He sees Arman as the true challenger who's earned his chance to fight for the belt next.
I don't understand how anyone in this weight class can say that they should get a title shot over Arman Tsarukyan. He was the number one contender for the last year. He was in line to fight for the belt in Los Angeles, and then it didn't happen. It was because his back went out, right? Some people were saying it was a weight issue. Well, today he stepped on the scale as a backup fighter.
Demetrius Johnson also agreed with DC and blasted the UFC for skipping over Arman Tsarukyan. He thinks Arman is the real top contender, but says the UFC cares more about money and hype. Demetrius called it all a big reality show and believes choosing Paddy and Ilia is just about selling tickets, not about who really deserves it.
Don't give it to Justin Gaethje. Give it to Arman Tsarukyan.
Who?
Give it to Arman Tsarukyan.
This guy?
No. Not Paddy. That's the right. It needs to be him. Arman Tsarukyan.
What's this, McGregor part 2?
I don't know. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why I say it's a reality TV show. It's like, obviously, Arman Tsarukyan is the number one contender. He's ranked number one, whatever you guys want to, go by the rankings. But they're forcing this fight with Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria just because it's probably going to sell more. But I think the rightful person who should be getting the next title shot at lightweight is Arman Tsarukyan.
However, Demetrius Johnson also shared that he doesn't see Ilia Topuria trying to wrestle with Arman Tsarukyan at all. He thinks Ilia will keep it standing and just look to knock Arman out fast. Demetrius believes Ilia doesn't care about proving anything on the ground as he just wants to finish fights with big knockouts and move on.
Like, I don't think he's just going to risk going into where Arman's good just to prove a point.
No, I think he's gonna knock Arman out. I don't think he cares to wrestle with anybody. I think he's gonna get himself to the right spot and try to knock everybody out.
Moreover, the featherweight champ Alexander Volkanovski thinks the key to beating Ilia Topuria is to push him into deep waters and test his cardio. He feels Ilia hasn't truly been pushed hard enough yet, and wrestling him non-stop would show if he can really keep up. Volk believes that forcing Ilia to grapple over and over might be the way to finally break him.
Tell us, so what's the strategy against a guy like Ilia? Let's say you guys run it back again.
Wrestle the bloke, mate.
You gotta get him down, right?
Him down. Look, that's what you want. You want to see what's going to happen with his gas tank. So even with Ilia, great fighter. Like even a lot of the things he does, like I'm sure a lot of it's well trained, and then he's got so many good instincts as well. Like even him just shifting that way, he's probably trained for that. But then just as soon as he wanted to square his hips up with the right hand, the power was there and put him in a safer position while he was throwing too. So just little things like that he probably trains for, or it's just great instincts. But yeah, he's a. We want to see the gas tank, see what happens with that. Because I thought Charles, when he was taking him down and forcing the sort of wrestle and the grapple, I felt like it was starting to wear on him a little bit.
MMA Guru and Demetrius Johnson talked about who should fight Ilia Topuria next, and Guru came up with a wild idea. He said the UFC should call up a few big names and ask if they want a title eliminator fight. If someone agrees, they get a shot at Ilia next. If they say no, they're out and might even get sent to another promotion. decision. Guru made it sound like a simple but bold plan to find out who really wants it the most.
They should ring up Gaethje, ring up Arman, and ring up Pimblett and ask them, are you interested in a title elimination bout? And seeing as Arman and Gaethje are both saying that they aren't interested in that and they want a title shot, whichever one of them says yes, give him to Pimblett, title elimination bout, winner gets Ilia Topuria. Whichever one of them says no, PFL. It's a simple game, DJ. It's a very simple game. You say yes, you stay. You know? PFL.
Meanwhile, Din Thomas thinks Arman Tsarukyan would give Ilia Topuria the hardest fight out of everyone. He believes Arman is way better at controlling distance and has stronger takedowns than Paddy Pimblett. Din also feels Ilia would easily handle Paddy on the ground. But even though Arman is the toughest challenge, Din knows Paddy will probably get the shot first because he's popular and has that big rivalry with Ilia.
Who is the most likely to get the title shot?
I think Paddy is still most likely to get it right now. He's just gonna have to be fair with the number.
Yeah, he's gonna have to be. Who's best suited to be the most competitive with Topuria out of those?
Arman.
Gaethje, Paddy, or Arman?
Arman.
That's what I thought too.
Javier Mendez also believes Arman Tsarukyan is the only real threat to Ilia Topuria at lightweight. He thinks Arman would mix in heavy grappling and not just try to box with Ilia, which could really test Ilia in ways no one else has. Javier did praise Ilia's skills, especially how he handled Charles Oliveira's takedown, but he still feels Arman's non-stop wrestling and ground game might be the biggest challenge Ilia will ever face.
Arman Tsarukyan would be the one that, in my opinion, might give him the most problems because Arman's not going to stand with him. Arman's going to make it a grappling war. So it's going to be a war of nutrition. Can Ilia survive the continuous ground attack that Arman's going to put on him? And that would be the test. Can he do that? I don't know. Maybe he can. I mean, look what he did to Charles. Charles came in for the takedown. He freaking switched it on him midair. That was very impressive, man.
Din Thomas further shared that he sees Arman Tsarukyan as the biggest problem for Ilia Topuria. He thinks Arman is way smarter with his distance, has faster takedowns, and can mix things up better than Paddy. Din said Arman's high kicks and quick scrambles would keep Ilia guessing all fight. Meanwhile, he thinks Paddy would get overwhelmed and might even get controlled on the ground by Ilia. That's why Din believes Arman is the real threat and the toughest challenge Ilia could face.
Arman, 100%. Here's why. Paddy might kick better. They might be close in that. But I think Arman will understand the range a little better, and he shoots better. I think he shoots better than Paddy. Yeah, I think Arman does the best against him just because he'll kick more high kicks, and he'll use the range a little better on the outside and shoot faster.
And scramble better.
Yeah, and scramble better. Paddy will just pull guard, and Ilia might even dominate him on the ground. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I thought the same thing. Well, I guess we're gonna see.
Demetrius Johnson also added that he thinks Arman Tsarukyan deserves to fight Ilia Topuria next, since he's the real top contender. But he believes the UFC will pick Paddy Pimblett because the drama and rivalry will bring in more money. Johnson says this proves the UFC is more focused on putting on a show than keeping it a true sport, even comparing it to WWE.
Who is next for Ilia Topuria? Now, technically, it should be Arman Tsarukyan because he is truly the number one contender. But they basically forced this Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria engagement because there is beef between those guys. They have had some exchanges before outside of the octagon. But this is where I had this hot take recently this week is that I said, the UFC is not a sport. Like, they get to dictate what they want to push, the narrative of what the fans want to see, which that's not what a sport is dictated on. And it's funny because my dad and my wife, Destiny, were watching the fights. And like, what the fuck? It's like WWE all over again.
However, Ilia Topuria has shown strong interest in facing Paddy Pimblett next, calling it a perfect chance to make a big statement without any difficulty. He believes it would be an easy fight and a great way to entertain the fans. Ilia feels sure he can control every moment in the cage and use the fight to show just how far ahead he is compared to Paddy.
What is going on with Paddy?
All the fans around the world, I think that they want to see that fight. And at the same time, I have to be honest, I think it's one of the easiest fights that I could have in the lightweight division. I don't know. I can do with him whatever I want to do in reality. It's very excited fight for the fans.
Yeah.
Where I'm gonna enjoy a lot the whole process, and at the same time, it's a fight where I'm gonna be able to shine once again.
Ilia Topuria is so sure of himself against Paddy that he thinks the fight wouldn't even reach the second round. He's so confident he even talks about choosing a flashy submission just to entertain the crowd. Ilia wants everyone to see that he's far above Paddy and can finish the fight however he wants.
How would you win? When would you win? Give us some of that Ilia prediction magic.
Against Paddy?
Yeah.
Oh, I have to think about it. I promise you, I could choose the way I want to finish.
First round?
Be like, that's for sure. He's not gonna stay there for more than one round with me. But I don't know, maybe it's gonna be cool to submit him in the ground with a triangle choke from the mount, something like that. Like, as I told him, put my in his forehead.
Paddy Pimblett fired up the hype by saying he sees himself finishing Ilia Topuria just like McGregor knocked out Aldo super fast and shocking. He even jokes about doing it in the first 10 seconds, but says he wants to hurt Ilia more and not let him off that easily. Paddy sounds fully confident and ready to make a huge statement.
I just think I'm his kryptonite, and people can laugh at me all they want when I say it, but I genuinely believe I'd finish him. I don't see him lasting 5 rounds with me. I genuinely believe I'd finish him. Keep having mad dreams that I finish him in like the first 10 seconds at Aldo, but that wouldn't be good enough for him. I'd want to beat him up for a consistent couple of rounds, hit him with over like 70 elbows, disfigure him a little bit, and then finish him.
Paddy Pimblett took a shot at Ilia Topuria by calling him a McGregor clone. He said Ilia was unknown before their rivalry and only became popular because of their beef. Paddy believes Ilia copied the style and hype moves to get attention and wouldn't have reached the title so quickly without him.
But at the time, Ilia was a nobody and I was a somebody, so he wanted to become a somebody off my name. I still say to this day he wouldn't have got a title shot that fast if it wasn't for me and him having beef.
Yeah. All you do, you'll do nothing. You'll do nothing, you little ass. Go and sit back down. Sit back down.
No one knew who he was. You know what I mean? He's just a McGregor clone.
Paddy Pimblett took another jab at Ilia Topuria, calling him nothing but a Conor McGregor wannabe. He pointed out Ilia's tattoos and even his trash talk, saying it all feels copied from Conor. Paddy mocked the idea that Ilia is better than McGregor, saying Prime Conor would have knocked him out easily.
He's trying to be Conor McGregor, isn't he? You know what I mean? He's got the same tattoos, he's got he even said the other day, I'm going to put my ball on your forehead to me, which is sort of what McGregor said to Chad Mendes.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a carbon copy of McGregor, and I think if some people can't see through that, even though you see some people now saying he's better than McGregor, but he's not. In the prime at the same time, McGregor would have knocked him out with a straight left. But, you know, against everyone else he's fought, he's not emotional. Topuria, he goes in very stoic. Against me, he's emotional. You know what I mean? Even the other day pushing me. I wasn't ever going to lay hands on him. I'm not that stupid. I know if I lay hands on him, I don't get that fight. So I just called him a little boy and got under his skin, as I always do, and he pushed me.
On the other hand, Arman Tsarukyan shared that he respects Paddy Pimblett's skills but doesn't see him beating top fighters at their best. Arman believes Paddy can win against guys who are past their prime or on losing streaks, but against strong, active contenders like himself, Ilia, or Islam, Paddy doesn't stand a chance.
Do you think Paddy's good, or do you think he's just hype that's going to fizzle out at some point, or do you think he's legit?
He's legit. He's legit, but not like a top 5 fighter level. He's he can beat like a Charles maybe now, because nowadays he can beat Charles. He can beat maybe Gagey, but he never gonna beat Topuria, me, or Islam, you know, who is on the prime right now. He can beat the people who is almost retired or lost fights, you know.
Arman Tsarukyan also made it clear that he has no doubts about beating Ilia Topuria. He believes his all-around skills and strong wrestling would completely shut Ilia down. Arman wants to show that the hype around Ilia doesn't matter and prove that he's simply in a different league.
I'm curious, tell us more about how you see a matchup with Topuria playing out.
I'm just take him down and hold him and just maul him. And I just finish him on the ground. And he's not gonna able to escape from me.
The wrestling and the takedowns are the key then.
Yeah, and my kicks, my wrestling, my ground and pound, and my strengths. Boxing, he's good on one thing, on the boxing. But me, wrestling, kicks, ground and pound, and like a control time.
So the more well-rounded fighter you believe is
I mean,
yourself.
4 versus 1, who's gonna win? I mean,
Sure.
if you're not gonna stay on his boxing distance, how he's gonna beat you? I don't know.
Arman Tsarukyan shared his thoughts on facing Ilia Topuria and made it clear he's not planning to stick to just one style. He wants to mix punches, kicks, and ground attacks all together. He feels this approach will make Ilia confused and show who really has the better skills inside the cage. Meanwhile, John Anik pointed out that Ilia Topuria really wants the fight with Paddy Pimblett, calling it a massive matchup. He explained that usually these big money, fun fights are offered to legends at the end of their careers, like GSP or John Jones. Anik said it'll be interesting to see if the UFC gives Ilia that luxury now, even though Dana White wasn't a big fan of Paddy stepping in at first.
Topuria badly wants the Paddy Pimblett fight, which is enormous.
Typically, this is a luxury given to guys like, let's say, a GSP at the end of his career, or a John Jones, for example, something like that. He may be in the driver's seat here.
We will see the direction in which they go. Just because Dana White didn't love Pimblett going in there doesn't mean that fight won't be made. I agree with Dana. What he didn't like was that Ilia Topuria just became a 2-division champion, not simultaneously, but so why are we matchmaking with the number 8 ranked contender to Capstone International Fight Week instead of sort of living in that win? I think that was Dana's point.
John Anik also views Paddy Pimblett as the best trash talker in MMA right now. He compared Paddy's raw, unscripted style to Conor McGregor and even Chael Sonnen, but said Paddy stands out because everything he says feels real. Anik also mentioned that Paddy's Scouser accent makes his trash talk even more entertaining and memorable.
Paddy Pimblett's a master orator, right? And not unlike Conor McGregor, nothing that Paddy says is scripted. And I think that's a big part of it for me, right? I love Chael Sonnen. He's one of the best orators I've ever been around, but some of his material was scripted. Ilia Topuria, Paddy Pimblett, they just shoot straight from the hip. But right now, if you're asking me, the best trash talker in mixed martial arts today is Paddy Pimblett. And I think the Scouser accent is part of the equation.
However, Arman Tsarukyan is fully confident he can deal with Ilia Topuria easily. He thinks the fight would be so one-sided that Ilia would drop way down in the rankings afterward. Arman believes he can take him down over and over without any danger and completely control him on the ground. Arman Tsarukyan also clarified that he isn't afraid of anyone standing in his way. He's focused on the title but has no problem taking out big names like Gaethje or Paddy first. Arman sees these fights as easy paydays and quick steps toward becoming a champion. Confident and hungry, he's ready to prove he's the real top dog.
Gaethje said that if he doesn't get a title shot, he's going to retire.
I mean, he can do whatever he wants to do, so I don't care about Gaethje, Paddy. I just need to fight for the title.
Yes, there it is. You wrote. By the way, I have to say.
Yeah, if UFC say like a fight with Gaethje, I'll take the fight and as soon as possible, and then fight with Ilia.
Okay, you would be open to that.
Yeah.
What about
No
Paddy?
problem. Easy money.
Which one, Gaethje or Paddy?
Both of them.
Ilia Topuria also rates Arman higher than Paddy. Ilia believes his fight with Paddy Pimblett could become one of the biggest in UFC history. Ilia also gave some advice to Paddy that he should fight Justin Gaethje instead of Arman Tsarukyan. Ilia thinks Arman would beat Paddy, so Gaethje is the safer path if Paddy wants to reach the top.
That fight easily could be one of the biggest in the UFC history.
Are there any hard feelings still towards Paddy?
Listen, I don't used to take anything personal in this game. It's all professional.
And with that one fight that you think that he should have, is there someone in the division that you think would make sense in terms of him winning that fight to get the title shot next?
So if he wants to assure his title shot, he has to fight with Justin Gaethje, because if he fights with Arman, I think that Arman's gonna beat him. So the easiest path he has right now to get the title shot is Justin.
Okay, thank you.
Stylistically.
So that's all we have from today's video, and despite Paddy's trash talk, Daniel Cormier has made it crystal clear that only Arman Tsarukyan deserves to fight Ilia Topuria next. He dismissed all the noise around Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, saying Arman is the true #1 contender. With support from big names like Demetrius Johnson, Din Thomas, and Javier Mendez, the message is loud that Arman is the real challenge, and no one else should even be in the conversation.